Hello and welcome to Basement Fodder, the only show whose hosts are both more qualified to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion than Sheamus. I'm Todd.
I'm Dave. I would make 10 times a better champion than that white motherfucker.
And those of you who have come to like our long, in-depth reviews of the pay-per-views are going to be not happy with this one because I just don't have it in me. This was a terrible show.
It's not even like there's enough really to do.
No, there really isn't. I mean, this is pretty much an awful show. Like, I don't even feel like going match by match. There's only about 2 or 3 matches that I even have anything to say about.
Yeah.
It just was not a great show. I barely got through it. In fact, I think I fell asleep before it was over.
You did fall asleep. I made myself stay awake through the whole fucking thing. And
I'm going to tell you, I want to start with the Undertaker match because it's the one that they hyped the most heavily going into this thing. And it was the Undertaker and Kane, Brothers of Destruction, reunited again against 2 members of the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
And it ended up being Bray and Luke Harper.
But how they did it was interesting.
Yeah, they go through their 9-year-long entrance of The Undertaker and Kane, which, and I mean, it matched only by Bray Wyatt and his 9-year entrance, too. So it was, half the match was entrances. And they get out there, and Undertaker and Kane are in the ring, and fucking Eric Rowan charges in without, permission or provocation or whatever, and immediately just gets double choke slammed and gone.
Apparently double choke slam equals you get knocked out of the building.
Yeah, apparently it just he rolled out to the floor and just kept on rolling until he hit the airport. Apparently he was literally gone.
God, you didn't see him for the rest of the fucking
So then it was Bray, Luke Harper, and Braun Strowman on the outside.
Baby ogre.
Nerds.
Yeah.
Baby Huey with the black sheep mask on. And they chose it to be Harper and Wyatt, which is a good choice because Braun Strowman can't work. And those 2 are the best 2 workers of the 4 of them anyway.
Yeah.
But all the hype and all the promos and all the build-up and the soul-taking and I control the thunder and fire now, all that shit led up to a very basic tag team match.
Which, I mean, okay, was nice to see.
Yeah.
Them go back to an old school standing of, like, tag team match. You saw a lot of, like, vintage Undertaker stuff. And vintage Kane, and like, you know what? That was cool. I was happy to see it, but at the same time, they hyped the fucking shit out of this match, and I just didn't see it.
It was just a massive anticlimax because it was literally nothing but
a clean finish.
I mean, you can even call it a job. Like, it was kind of a squash match because they really, I mean, the Wyatts really didn't get shit.
No.
And it's just Undertaker and Kane doing kind of their shtick.
And then they went outside the ring and fucking manhandled Strowman.
Yeah, they double chokeslammed Braun Strowman into a fucking announce table, and he bounced before it broke, which was horrifying.
It was awesome. But I mean, it was just like that was it. They destroyed Rowan in the beginning. You never saw him for the rest of the match. They went outside, destroyed fucking, Strowman, and he was gone pretty much after that. And then they fucking clean beat fucking Bray and
Luke Harper. Yeah, just like it was nothing.
Yeah,
like no post match angle, nothing really.
Like that storyline ended before they hit the ring. Like that whole like. I called down the thunder. I called down the fire. All that other shit.
I've taken your soul, Undertaker.
I've had to listen to weeks of crappy promo building for a basic fucking tag match.
Yeah, that was it. Not even a Survivor Series style tag match. Like, it would have been fun if they would have like added partners in, like, and gone 4-on-4 or something. Like,
and the fucking the fucking 5-on-5 Survivor tag match was really just a fucking give me to the end of what the fucking pay-per-view was. Yeah,
the 5-on-5 Survivor Series match was the New Day with Sheamus and Wade Barrett against the Usos, Lucha Dragons, and Ryback?
Yeah, Ryback.
And it was weird psychology because usually it's like the babyface team are the ones that go down to the sole survivor and then has to fight off, but this was the reverse of that.
Yeah,
the heel team was down to only Sheamus.
Yeah, Barrett got taken out first, then they took out
Xavier.
They took out Xavier, then they took out one of the Usos. Then it was one of the other guys.
But when they took out Xavier, the New Day said, fuck it, and just left.
Well, that was, okay, but first they took out one of the Usos, then they took out Sin Cara, and it was Ryback, Kalisto, and one of the Usos.
Yeah,
that was left.
And they took out Big E.
Took out Big E, And then all of a sudden, basically, fucking,
right. They took out Xavier, Kofi was like, fuck it.
Yeah, they were like, oh, he's hurt, we got to take him out, and they just left.
Yeah, and they just left.
And Sheamus didn't even know he was down on the mat from getting hit by somebody else. When he comes back up, he realizes he's the only one left. And they didn't even like clearly count them out either.
No, they never. They never counted them out at all.
Yeah, it was just Big E got beat, and then the other two were basically like, fuck off, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then it was basically just all a member of each team, like tag team that was involved, beating the shit out of fucking Sheamus.
Yeah, and making him look like crap, basically.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Like when you get down to the Soul Survivor, that's babyface mentality. That's the thing that's supposed to make the crowd cheer for you and shit. And the crowd sure as fuck wasn't going to cheer for Sheamus because, surprise, no one gives a fuck about Sheamus.
Yeah, it was like
no one has given a fuck about Sheamus.
They were trying to build heat for Sheamus or build up some sort of momentum or something like that. It didn't work. And it didn't work, or didn't. I think they were trying to think people would be like, oh, but Sheamus is by himself. No, that was cool. That's what people wanted. They wanted to see him get fucking his ass circle stomped. Yeah. And he did. And then that was it. That was that match.
And they had the semifinals of the world title tournament, and those two matches were, I don't know, they were okay, I guess.
They were what they were.
I mean, Reigns and
Alberto Del Rio?
No, the other one.
What?
His partner.
Dean.
Yeah, Ambrose. Sorry. Reigns and Ambrose is...
But that wasn't... No, there was the other ones, too. There was with Kevin and with...
I know,
Alberto.
those matches sucked.
You know. It was one of those... It was what you knew what was going to happen. They were going to kick the title holders out right at the last end, and they were going to make the buddies fight each other. That match was awkward. They fought good together and stuff like that. Like, they kind of built something, but it was just weird because... You knew it was going to be Roman, but they didn't do the logical thing of making Roman turn on Dean. It was a clean pin. It was a clean pin.
Yeah.
And then it was like...
And then, Dean gave him a hug and then bounced, gone. Okay. And they did, the ticker tape parade or whatever type thing for Roman with the title, and Triple H came out and tried to shake his hand, and Roman said, fuck that, and speared him all to hell. And then, boom, here comes Sheamus with a big fucking bro kick to the face.
Bro kick. Tried to pin him. Didn't work. Cashed in the thing. Then bro kicked him, I think, one or two more times. Yeah. That worked and pinned him. And then they fucking gave Sheamus the fucking title.
Yeah, and it was booed vociferously.
Oh, good God.
And then... Then after Sheamus was gone and they cut back to fucking Roman Reigns leaving, he got booed vociferously too.
Yeah.
Because nobody gave a shit.
Yeah. And the thing was, normally when that shit happens, they end the thing. But man, they dragged this out, literally till Roman Reigns, walked to the back. It was weird.
I think they were hoping that he would get sympathy from the crowd or something, but the crowd shit all over it.
Yeah. It was a crap... This pay-per-view, in my opinion, got thrown under the bus. This was one of those, when fucking Rollins got hurt, they didn't know what the fuck to do, so they scrambled for something, and basically they were like, we're going to have to throw a pay-per-view under the bus.
And that's the thing. If this had been one of the minor pay-per-views, I wouldn't have even given a shit. If this would have been some, smaller pay-per-view.
What, TLC?
Something, so, some shit that doesn't matter. But this is one of the big four.
Yeah.
Survivor Series, Rumble, Mania,
SummerSlam.
This is one of your big four, and it's one of the worst ones we've seen all year.
Oh, God, yeah.
Last month was much better.
The women's match was crap.
Yeah, Paige and Charlotte, it wasn't that great. They had a better match the next night on Raw.
Yeah,
much better. That was
that was a very slop match. There was a lot of sloppy hits and just sloppy throws, and it was bad.
It was not a good match.
No, really wasn't a good match on that fucking thing, and it just felt like this was one of those
it was a throwaway show.
Yeah, we've got things that we're thinking about, but we're pretty much just gonna have to toss this one and then segue into Raw, which it was the exact same thing. They threw that Raw under the bus too, by doing a lot of the same matches from the night before.
Yeah.
And most of them weren't any better.
No. The Charlotte and Paige match was markedly better.
That one was better.
Charlotte and Paige had a damn fine match on Raw. They had a much better match than they had at the pay-per-view.
And the sad thing to say, that was kind of the highlight
of the show.
The best match
absolutely.
Was the women's.
Behind that, I guess it was be like the Cody and Goldust that tag match. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It was good to see Goldust back, and he looked good. Looked like he dropped weight again.
The funny thing with the open challenge for the tag.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I like the fact that they're pushing the tag division more, but they do need to take the belts off the New Day. As much as I love the New Day, they do need to take the belts off of them now because it's kind of getting to the point where they need to be taken down.
Yeah.
But
because you got the Usos back, you got Lucha Dragons, which have been like progressively getting better. Mm-hmm. You've
still got the Dudleys in there.
You've still got the Dudleys. You've got the Primetime Players. Mm-hmm. You've still got Ascension. You've got all these in teams.
The tag division is strong right now.
But they're not doing anything with it. That's the shitty thing about it. Is like you've got all this strong talent now, and you're just still letting fucking...
and what do they do with Sheamus? Okay, here's the thing, like... If on Raw they would have walked out with Sheamus and Sheamus would have been different, like if they would have taken that night from Sunday night to Monday night and they would have taken Sheamus and cut his hair and cut his beard off or something and like corporated him out, that would have at least been something.
Yeah, something.
That would have been something. The story like Triple H, like paid me to cash in or whatever, and like now I'm the new corporate guy or whatever. I'm corporate, Sheamus.
Yeah.
And shit. But they didn't even do that. He was the same stupid dookie braid beard fucking Sheamus that he was the night before, and nobody gave a fuck. And they went out there and cut a fucking promo. Nobody gave a fuck. And Roman came out and nobody gave a fuck. Like that was the story of the goddamn show. Nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah.
Especially not us, because I watched you, and I'm sure you watched me during that entire show. We were spending more time looking at our fucking phones than we were watching and fast forwarding it because there was just nothing of interest.
There wasn't. Like, I thought there was going to be something more. I thought there was going to be some sort of...
They didn't even bring up the fact that Dean Ambrose left right after the match and wasn't there, to help Roman, because that could have been another fucking step and a turn there. Didn't bring that up. They just had Roman go in there and face Rusev, who beats nothing right now because they've neutered him completely.
Yeah.
And then the announcers, which this cracked me up, the announcers keep talking about like how puzzled they are why Rusev would be helping Sheamus. I'm like, apparently you don't watch the show.
Because that whole European connection thing.
Because fucking Barrett and him have been tagged with Sheamus for, I don't know, a while now. Yeah. Like, this is not a new thing.
They were doing that 3-on-3 tag matches, and they were fucking throwing those three together. Like it
is truly sad to see how far that they have fucking neutered Rusev to the point where I don't care about him anymore. And I was really into Rusev, and I think he's a talented guy. And like
he used to be dominating.
Yeah,
like
now he's a fucking joke.
Yeah, he used to be a guy that came out and you were like, damn, he's gonna destroy some people. Sheamus was a guy that used to come out and you were like, damn, he was gonna destroy some people. Barrett used to come out and be like, damn, he's gonna fuck some people up.
Yeah.
Now all three of them come out with these fucking joke ass gimmicks. Mm-hmm. King Barrett's a fucking joke. Dookie Braid Sheamus is a fucking joke. And fucking like pussy whipped fucking Rusev is a fucking joke.
Yeah. That whole Ziggler Lana storyline, the way that shit went, it just killed any momentum that Rusev had.
Like,
and they're wasting all this time with this shit with Ziggler and fucking Tyler Breeze, like, who I could not give a fuck about.
Yeah, and this is okay. There was a lot of like heat with the like Ziggler Rusev thing when it was just Lana. The moment they brought in Summer, it killed it. And it sucks because it looks bad on Summer, but it's
not her fault. It's just the way they went with the story. That and the fact that Rusev and Lana's actual engagement came out, and then that just literally killed the entire storyline because it killed it dead. There was nothing they could do.
And the other problem too is now they've done the similar thing with Breeze, and it's like now it's just. It's kind of making her that fucking that thing, like, she's
I want to take that fucking fur-covered selfie stick and ram it up that guy's ass.
Yeah, but it's like she's kind of getting that reputation of she's the slutty manager who will fucking, and then she has this, like, thing out against Ziggler for rejecting her, so she gets all the fucking little, like, pussy whip boys to go after him and shit, and it's like... You guys are trying to keep half a storyline going when the other half got killed right there, So it's like, what the shit, The
only thing besides the things that we mentioned on the thing that I enjoyed the most on Raw, besides Paige and Charlotte, was the Jack Swagger thing.
Oh, the Swagger thing was awesome.
That actually had some stink to it.
That had some good stuff.
Fucking, like, I've always been a big Swagger fan. The guy is way too talented to be used the way he is, and they need baby faces bad right now.
And right now, especially, like, with how much they like to play into what's happening in the world right now, Swagger is your best bet.
God, yes.
Like, because he's got the talent, he can work the mic, and what he stands for is what he's always stood for. That's the thing. His character has always been the same. It's like right now his character is like your Hulkamania back in the day.
He's that Kurt Angle character. Yeah. Like that's what you need right now.
Yeah.
You need that all-American guy. You need that guy who's a legit ass kicker, and that's what Swagger has. And like to have him in there against Del Rio while they're doing that Mex America thing, which is awful.
It is awful.
But Del Rio has heat.
Del Rio has
and
heat,
Zeb Coulter has heat, and there's the built-in right there with Coulter formerly having been, Swagger's manager.
Yeah. And Rio and Swagger before going at it and like generating.
And when this is a guy, you can tell what's going on because this is a guy who's been off TV for a good while now. Swagger's been off TV for a good while. It's long enough to where they, the fact that he jobbed a lot is not in the consciousness right now.
Yeah. Most people don't even remember.
Yeah, you get him back out there and you get a good, hot, fucking heavy feud going with these two and just let them beat the shit out of each other and fucking don't let, Del Rio quickly pin him or anything like that. And
especially with Del Rio holding the U.S. title.
Yes, because having Swagger chase that U.S. belt and being the American hero character will go over like crazy if they play it the right way. And so I'm excited. I'm cautiously excited to see that play out.
And then there's the Paige and Charlotte thing. This match was a lot better, but at the same time, man, they are walking a really thin line. I don't know if they're giving Paige pointers of what to say or what, but man, they are playing a very dangerous game with the Flair family, and like it may come back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah, they don't want to lose goodwill with Rick.
Yeah,
bringing up Reed Flair's overdose death is really just crossing a line. Now, wrestling is traditionally, they cross lines. They cross lines. They exploit death constantly. They exploited Eddie Guerrero's death when it happened. They exploited Benoit's death to some, extent, but not directly, but they did.
Yeah, but God, it's been so long since that happened to go back to that and really just dredge that up.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me, but it was like, I'm pretty sure there was plenty more to pull out that you didn't have to touch that. You could have pulled up the other sibling who sucks and, said something about him.
I mean, isn't it enough to just play at the fact that she's forever in Rick's shadow and shit,
But no, you had to go that route, and it was like... Oh,
it was distasteful, and it just actually made people care less instead of caring more.
Yeah.
But, what are you going to do? I mean, then they want to play up this stupid angle from the pay-per-view, the Paige trying to say that, she didn't really lose because Charlotte's hand was under the rope when she tapped out. It doesn't fucking matter. Cheating. Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. A, she wasn't touching the ropes. B, it doesn't matter. If your foot was under the ropes, yeah, you could say something like, oh, shit, my foot was under the ropes. That means I wasn't, I couldn't tap out because I technically should have had a rope break.
Yeah.
But it doesn't fucking matter. It tried to add complication to something that was a clean win, and it was just fucking stupid.
Well, that and they're going back to the well of, like, Paige is losing her mind and becoming the fucking crazy one and shit like that. And it's like, they've done that plenty of times where, somebody becomes a fucking raving lunatic. Yeah. You had Mickie James, you had Victoria, you had all these fucking characters where they're like, I'm crazy. And it's like, okay,
And they tried to rehab the Wyatts by having them go out there and have a tag match and having them be dominant and shit and like having them fucking... But it doesn't matter because there's no rehabbing when you just go out and job to The Undertaker and Kane.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. Nobody cared. And the ratings show it because this was the lowest rated Raw in over 20 years.
Yeah. It was bad.
Partially it had to do with the fact that Monday Night Football was up 2 million on its normal numbers, but even with that, it's still a terrible number.
It was a terrible Raw coming off a terrible pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. And this is something we had talked about before. It was like, okay, if you have the network, it's no big deal. Basically, I equate it to like this. Like now all those shows on Netflix where they basically make the entire season in one fell swoop. Yeah, you can not worry about each individual show's ratings. You can worry about the long story, and that's great. But this isn't like that, you know. You got to worry about each individual one because you still have a good chunk of people that order pay-per-views per pay-per-view.
There's still about 25,000 people or more average that still order pay-per-view at a $60 rate instead of the $10 per network.
And they expect each pay-per-view
sometimes even more than that. Sometimes up of 100,000.
Yeah, and they expect a good pay-per-view. They don't expect what they got.
Yeah, my God, if you paid $60 for that, you can imagine how fucking furious you would be.
I'd have called back and been like, I want my money back.
Yeah.
I want, like, that was shit. I would have been
But the thing is, though, wrestling is about the long haul, though. It is about the long storyline, but it still needs to be, like, okay, you know, A to B, you know, and then B to C, and C to D, and then all the way to Z, but it all has to make sense, and it all has to be worth watching.
Yeah. You can't fucking throw B under the bus to get to fucking Q and then be like, oh, well.
Why doesn't anybody care anymore?
Yeah. It's like, well, you know, they've neutered so many people. Like, nobody gives a fuck anymore that the Dudleys are back. You've jobbed them out, like, so much. Like, you threw them out fucking for New Day. And I'm sorry, but, like, New Day's not going to get any hotter than they already are.
No.
Like, it's actually now starting to kind of backfire on them. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's becoming, they would still be hot, but take the titles away. Like, that's the thing. It's like they're getting away with too much. Yeah. And there's no repercussions. Yeah. Like, they're walking out on matches. They're doing all kinds of shit. Like, it's one of those, like, okay, a little bit of shenanigans, cool, but they've shenanigans their way through their entire thing. Yeah. And it's like no team seems to be able to get past the shenanigans. They'll just be like, nope, it's cool.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, like, between the pay-per-view and Raw, it just really was a big fucking shitstorm of a weekend for wrestling. I can tell you.
Then there was the tag match where it was Ziggler and Ambrose versus Breeze and Kevin Owens. And, man.
God, that match was terrible.
That was terrible. And that was terrible because of fucking, like, it was they're rehash matches. But then at the same time, they were horrible because, like, the ending was shitty. The ending was, like, Kevin Owens hoeing out his own teammate.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just
this whole, like, shtick of him just like, I don't care. I'm like, hey, you know who else doesn't care? Any of the fan base.
Anybody watching this
Any of the fan base doesn't care anymore. Like, nobody gives a shit. Like, you know what? Have Dean Ambrose start feuding with him and then give Dean the title. Because, like, I guarantee people will give more shit about the Intercontinental title if it's around Ambrose or Ziggler. Or anyone, because, like, Kevin Owens has basically made it pretty well known that he just does not give a fuck.
Yes.
You know, it's like basically he's like holding a warm-up title for when he gets his fucking, you know, championship, and it's like,
God help us.
Yeah.
We'll see his ponderous gut with the fucking World Heavyweight Championship belt around. It's going to make me want to fucking kill somebody.
Oh, my God. That would be horrible.
I don't know. I'm very done with wrestling this week. Like, I'm just hoping next week is better, but, you know, there's not much hope for that, unfortunately. But
it's right now is a really sketchy time because it's like the feud that you had that was bringing your biggest draw, that got fucking killed quick because he got injured. And then that also left a big gaping hole for, like, a frontline heel, which you could not fill, and you're trying to fill it with Sheamus, which Dookie Braids McGee is not going to fucking get it done.
Nope.
Because, one, he looks stupid, which that was even part of the shtick. You know, he was all like, ah, ha, ha, who looks stupid now? And they're like, you.
And the crowd also chanted in unison, you do.
Yes. Like, the crowd fucking, they don't hate him because, you know, like, he's a good heel. They hate him because it's fucking retarded that he's holding the belt. Yeah. It was like, nobody understood why he got the fucking Money in the Bank to begin with. Like, he's not, he doesn't promo like he used to. No. He's nowhere near the size he was. And that's fine, I understand. But it's like, he still tries to come in like he's still this, like, I decimate people, and it's like, no, you don't, Sheamus. You haven't decimated anyone for a while. Like, you have to rethink strategy, you know? Out of the three of them, the only person that I would still, like, think remotely is Barrett, because Barrett is still an amazing, you know, wrestler.
Yes.
You know? Rusev is a good wrestler too. He's an amazing wrestler, but they've neutered him to the point that all of his matches become these stupid, him in the middle of the ring, Bulgarian bitch whiner in the fucking ring. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? He used to not say shit and just destroy people. Like, you know, he had that Goldberg, when Goldberg first showed up, go in the ring, fucking mean mug the shit out of them, and then decimate them and leave their broken body in the ring. Does he do that shit anymore? No, now he's fucking crying. Yeah. It was like the moment they made him put shoes on, he fucking became less scary.
And it was like Samson, they've taken away his power.
Yeah.
They made him wear shoes.
Yeah. You know, and then fucking Super Kickapalooza, you know, everybody's super kicking the world all around. This shit's fucking... Dude, that was the most popular move.
They super kicked me in the nuts after watching Survivor.
Yeah, and that Raw. That was my gift. Hey, thanks for watching. Here's a half-ass super kick to the nuts.
They super kicked all the fucks out of me.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll watch next week's, but I'm not gonna lie, my thumb's gonna be so hard pressed on that fast forward button on the DVR. Like if it just starts sucking instantaneously, it's just no.
Let's talk about something that doesn't make me want to kill people.
All right.
The Civil War trailer dropped today.
Oh yeah.
Captain America 3.
Yeah, pretty much. Really, I think people would say it's a heavy feels trailer. Like, there's a lot. Like, the thing that amuses me about it, though, is, like, the heaviest feels moment about it is this line between Cap and Iron Man.
The heaviest thing right now is the shat that I just left in my pants.
He just shattered himself.
Oh, it's really fast.
Yeah. Oh. But it was like a line where it was something about Cap saying he was sorry to Tony, but he had to, you know, like,
it's my friend.
It's my friend. And, you know, Tony's like, so was I. And everybody's like, oh. And I'm like, what movies were, what the fuck? Like, everybody's like, oh my God.
I'm sorry, you're trying to paint Tony Stark as sympathetic?
I was like, wait, where were these movies where they were like friends?
Yeah, it's
was it the last 5 minutes of fucking Age of Ultron? Is that it? Really? Because, like, every other movie I've seen them in, it's like Tony's being a fuckhead and, like, telling Cap he's a fucking, like, you know, antique from another era and he fucking sucks. And Cap's like, I'll bust your fucking teeth down your throat. I kick your dad's ass, I'll kick your ass. I'm like, so where did this magical friendship of never know fucking how show up?
Is this like Avengers 2.5 where it's just 20 minutes of them spooning or something? Because I've never seen this.
And they're like, oh, you're taking Bucky over me. I'm like, he spent, like, I don't know, an entire movie fighting Bucky, but at the same time trying to, like, save him. I'm like, yes, if you understand the basic anything of what's going on here, Bucky is definitely going to be...
These are guys that went to war together. These are guys that, like, Bucky protected him before he was Captain America. This is a guy who gave his life, in theory, to save his life, to save Steve. Like, of course he's going to side with him.
He's the only other one that knows what Cap's going through because he was alive then. Like,
I don't know.
So that, to me, I think, was, like, one of those things where it was like, yeah, okay, nice try. The rest of the trailer, however, I loved it. I thought it was awesome because it was one of those things where, especially with the way they cut it, it was like, when we saw the teams originally, Cap's team looked like it was going to get its ass handed to him because it's like, you look at sheer power alone, Tony's team is devastating. Yeah. You know, you've got 2 Iron Man armors. Yeah. You've got Vision. You've got, you got Black Widow, but that's whatever. She's a great fighter, but I mean, as far as like powers, she's not a powerhouse. And then you've got Black Panther, and I don't know what they're bringing to the table with Black Panther, but traditionally in the comics, Black Panther is a pretty potent, power. So
I couldn't give a fuck, but
couldn't give a fuck. Suit looks cool.
Yeah,
suit looks cool,
really cool.
But I mean, so you had that situation, but
he
then,
actually still looks like Black Panther.
Yeah, but then when you see the trailer, you see that Scarlet Witch is in Cap's corner, which that kind of evens out some power. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, the suits and all that shit are great, but man, when you get in close on the fighting, man, Cap's team really is pretty potent, because Bucky and Cap are some hellaciously trained fighters.
Yeah, and if they proved anything through the Iron Man movies, Rhodey's not much of a fighter.
Rhodey's not much of a fighter. He's more trained than Tony, but man, yeah, they're both not much. They rely too heavily on those damn suits.
Yep.
And I mean, you look, Falcon had some sweet moves in there. I was really surprised. In the trailer, you don't see anything about Ant-Man, and you don't see anything about Spider-Man.
Yeah,
you don't even see Vision.
Spider-Man thing,
and you didn't even see Vision.
No,
which was interesting. They really kind of tried to, from what I hear from different articles and people like blogs and stuff like that. There's I wouldn't say, I don't know how big of a little group, but there's a group of people that think the trailer actually kind of makes Cap look like the bad guy in the thing, as far as like
that myself,
as far as like him just kind of coming across as like, you know, an asshole for doing what he did. And I'm like, I can't agree on that, because I feel like it's one of those things where it's, you know, he's got pushed into a corner, and you know, they're trying to, in the trailer, you see it, they're trying to outright kill his friend. Yeah. They're not coming to arrest him, they're coming to kill him. Yeah. And he's like, I'm not going to let that happen. Yeah. And
you never trust anything that Thunderbolt Ross brings you.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. If you look like who Cap is kind of going up against, as far as like the people that are telling him what's going, like what's what, you've got Tony, you've got Romanoff, and you've got Thunderbolt Ross. Like, I'm sorry, I know everybody wants to believe that Romanoff is a great person, but in the comics, she's a fucking shit stain. Yeah. Like, she is always like, she's a double crosser. It's what it is. In the animations, they've shown it. In the comics, they've shown it. Like, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was a fun trailer to watch. I watched it too many times to the point where, like, I'm overanalyzing
you got too analytical.
Yeah,
and you still haven't seen Winter Soldier.
And I still haven't seen Winter Soldier, so I can't really offer an educated, like, opinion on it. Like, I can't buy Tony Stark as sympathetic. I never could.
Not for a fucking second. This, like, whole he got his heart broke bullshit because fucking Steve's not his BFF anymore. I'm like, Steve was never your BFF. Never,
yeah.
Like, at all. Even in the comics, at best, you guys had like an uneasy truce.
The thing about Cap is, and why Cap is always a good guy, and why Cap is the one that people are going to get behind, is because Cap is the incorruptible. He's like Superman. He's the infallible. He's the incorruptible. He's the one that is the purest, and he believes in justice. And
it's the essence of what the country is made of, not what the government tells him to.
He's not. The Cap is not pro-government. He's pro-America. It's like Uncle Sam in the Freedom Fighters or whatever. Like, it's not pro-government. It's pro-America. It's pro what the country is supposed to stand for, what the actual liberty and principles and stuff are supposed to be. And that's why Cap is always the one that people are going to get behind. You can't put Iron Man out there and expect people to be like, oh, yeah, so he's the wonderful thing. No, Tony Stark is basically a fucking asshole. He's an asshole that had a change of heart and fucking, you know, but still, when you watch Age of Ultron, he's the reason for all that shit. His own arrogance is the reason for all that shit.
And it's like, you can't ever get behind Tony because, like, at his core, he's fucking, like, he's just one of those people that he is completely corruptible.
Yeah.
He is.
Completely and totally.
Yeah. Like, alcoholic, womanizing, junkie, fucking egomaniacal, arrogant, fucking just everything. Like, you can't not. And
Cap is the personification of the American dream.
I'd get behind War Machine before I could get behind Iron Man.
Yeah, because at least, you know, he's a soldier. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's just... I can't look for. I don't know. Like, Spider-Man's gonna be in this one. I know that. Like, I don't think it's gonna be a very big thing because they can't use him very much, from what I understand.
I think there's gonna be some well, from what I'm told, there is gonna be some fight sequences that he's in. Like, it's gonna be some good stuff. I'm actually more excited to see Ant-Man in it.
Yeah.
Because of after seeing the Ant-Man movie, I'm like...
Well, I've heard Hulk things, and I'm hoping that you get to see some Hulk action in there.
What, in Civil War?
Yeah.
I don't think Hulk's in Civil War.
That sucks.
He's in Thor.
Well, that would be cool too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate Spider-Man, so that's not a draw for me, like at all.
I'm willing to give it a chance because they're going back to him being like the 15-year-old kid, which I'm like, okay. And I've seen the kid in action and the stuff he can do, so I think it'll be action sequence wise, it'll be cool. Mm-hmm. But I've never seen the kid act, so I don't know what I'm getting into as far as that.
I don't care who's playing Spider-Man. I can't give a fuck about Spider-Man as a character.
Now, if it was Scarlet Spider, I'd be all about it.
But, I mean, I'm sure it'll be good.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a very heavy draw, like heavy emotional thing, because they're very much playing it up as, you know, like one man willing to go up against an entire government to save his friend, and. This is a very different Civil War. This is not the Civil War that was in the comics. Like, everybody's like, oh, Civil War.
That's hard for me, too, because, like, Civil War is actually one of the few Marvel stories in the last 15 years I've actually given a shit about. Yeah. And it was a good story.
It's a good story.
It's a story that you just can't tell
you could
in the movies right now.
Oh, God, no.
Because not that many heroes exist.
Yeah, you'd have to introduce so many heroes and so many villains.
One of the biggest catalysts of Civil War is the shit that happened with the New Warriors, and they don't exist in this universe.
And Reed.
And Reed doesn't exist in this universe because they can't use him. They can't use any of the X-Men characters, and they can't use the Fantastic Four, which takes a big chunk out of the Civil War shit.
Yeah.
Because they were heavily involved, especially Reed and Sue.
And you can't use any of the Spider-Man villains, which are heavily in it. You
can't use Norman Osborn, which is really fucking heavy in there.
Like that. So they had to really, like... go back and, you know, and the other thing too is like Civil War was one of those things where it was like that was Maria Hill's fucking thing too. So it's like she's already been established, and it you know, the character of Maria Hill in the movies is not the Maria Hill that's in the comics.
No.
So, I mean,
I would say the bigger Marvel news this week, the thing that everybody's buzzing about Marvel-wise, is the Jessica Jones series on Netflix. Everybody's been cracking out pretty hard on Jessica Jones.
Yep, I'm halfway through the season.
You and I watched the first episode together, and that's all I've seen so far. But that's more than I've seen of Daredevil. So
yeah, and the beauty of these things is you don't need to watch each one. You know, if you ever get around to watch a Daredevil, cool. Not.
I'm still recovering from mainlining almost 4 seasons of Arrow, so I need some time off from mainlining shows.
Yeah, mainlining. But yeah, they're pretty much standalone. You can watch them as what they are and not have to be interconnected. They are interconnected in ways.
Right.
So it's really great.
From what I saw in the first episode, I thought it was very good. Mm-hmm. I like Kristen Ritter. It's definitely very graphic. It's definitely very dirty.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that way too, but I meant like just it looks dirty.
Oh, yeah, it's very gritty.
Yeah, and therein falls the issue, though, when it comes to some of this stuff I've heard about it. It's like, it's very grim and gritty, and I've heard the same thing about Daredevil. It's also very grim and gritty, which Daredevil should be.
Yeah, very dark and gritty.
I don't understand as much with Jessica Jones, I guess, because like I'm used to her in the comics, and she really is not like that in the comics at all.
I would almost kind of say Daredevil's a little bit darker. Jessica's a little bit more grittier. Like, there's a difference, and it's like, and they play on that difference.
Yep.
But I know we've heard a lot of stuff about, like, you know, this is one of those, like, there's a lot of praise for this. There's a lot of, like, you know, this is what the show that needed to be made, you know, a strong female, and everybody loves it. And I'm going to go ahead and say that Daredevil, will probably, until Iron Fist comes out, will still be the one that I like the most, but that's because it plays to my sensibilities and what I like as far as like martial arts, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff in this show that I like. I like the character development between Luke and Jessica, which is really good. And I also like the dynamic between Trish and Jessica. That dynamic's really good too.
Yes.
There's a lot of good stuff in it, but there's also some other things that I think, you know, I don't think are bad, but it doesn't sing to me.
Yeah.
So but other people will like it, and that's great. And it's good, and that's what, it's supposed to. It's not supposed to. Each show, I think, is supposed to play to its own demographic. I don't think it's supposed to like be across the boards. Everybody's gonna like it, and everybody's gonna hate it. I think that's the beauty of them all being interconnected. You're all gonna find something you like, and then it's gonna culminate into something. But I've been hearing a lot of, since this show's come out.
Yeah, I actually brought this up before we got on air. This actually kind of annoys me royally. There's been a lot of people tweeting about it and a lot of people talking about it in articles that Jessica Jones is the show that kills Supergirl, because this is the grim and gritty and this is the more real show, and you can't watch the upbeat, girl powery sort of Supergirl show. I don't think people understand. This is the fundamental, and this has always been the fundamental difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel's characters are very human, very extremely flawed. All Marvel characters pretty much are extremely flawed people. Yeah, and that's cool. That's a realism thing, and I get that, and I understand why people like that. And DC characters are generally more larger than life. They have problems, but they're more heroes. They're more superhero-y. You can't compare these things. Yeah. They're not on the same level. Yeah. It's like comparing Star Wars and Star Trek. It's not the same fucking thing.
Yeah, they're two very different things.
Jessica Jones is not even a superhero. Yeah. She doesn't wear a costume. She doesn't even profess to be a hero. She's a very street level character. She doesn't have nearly the power set of a Supergirl level character. That's the thing. It's like Jessica Jones beats up thugs. Supergirl beats up fucking high powered alien supervillains and shit. This is Jessica Jones deals with shit on a street level. Superman, Supergirl, they deal with shit on a fucking cosmic level, on a world beater level. Yeah. This is a different kind of a thing. Yeah. These shows are not meant to play to the same fucking demographic. If you're watching one of these shows, you're not likely to like the other one, and vice versa, you know, unless you have the attitude that we have about it.
And that's the thing too, they're talking shit about one's the happy bubbly and the other one's dark and gritty. I'm just look at the stories. Don't even necessarily bring the characters in, but just look at how they grew up. Yeah, Kara lost her world, her parents and stuff like that, but she got a foster family with a sister. Jessica's family was just fucking destroyed, and then she got mind fucked by Kilgrave. These are not even remotely the same stuff. If you had switched things, yeah, I'm pretty sure fucking Kara would be fucking exactly the type of way Jessica Jones is, and Jessica would be exactly the way Kara is, because even there's glimpses in the Jessica Jones show of when she first started out trying to be a hero, where she was the optimistic, I want to make a difference and shit like that. So it's you can't compare them. That's the other thing that bugs me too, is the powers. I think this is one of my gripes as far as the showcasing of her powers is she looks very strong, as in she can break locks and bust doors and bust things and stuff. But it's as far as power scope wise, it's everybody gets amazed that she can huck a dude over a car. The biggest thing power wise that I've seen her do is she can jump up buildings really high, and that's cool. Her strength, she's strong, but name off any other character with super strength and she would lose to them.
Yeah.
I even in the show think this is kind of sucks, but I think when you actually see Luke Cage get into the mix, they showcase that he's stronger than her, or at least it looks that way. Yeah. So
the thing is, actually, the Star Wars Star Trek is a perfect comparison to this, because Marvel is Star Wars and DC is Star Trek. Yeah. DC's vision of the future is always the more hopeful, and it's Star Trek's vision of the future is always the more hopeful. DC's stories tend to be the stories about hope and the stories about triumph and larger than life heroes, and then Marvel Star Wars is over here it's about pain, and it's about failure, and it's about grit and suffering. That's the difference between the two, and you can't compare Star Wars and Star Trek as the same thing, just like you can't compare the DC stories and the Marvel stories. Supergirl and Jessica Jones shouldn't be compared to each other because they're not the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
you're looking for something complete. It's like even call it like Flash and Arrow. You can't look at them in the same way either, because Flash is, they talk about it on the show. Flash is the more upbeat show. It's the more, they're colorful villains with colorful names that are trying to do colorful things. And then Arrow is a show about grit and dirt and fucking, murder and revenge and shit like that. It's just, you can't be looking, can't go and watch Jessica Jones, then watch Supergirl and expect to see the same kind of shit. It's not you're gonna be disappointed. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. It's not the same thing. You can't judge them on the same level.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where it's like, if you want to see like gritty, really dark toned, fucking bloodied up, not superhero, but just super powered, she's not trying to be a hero. She tried it once and then was like, nope, I'm good, and she's just being a regular person who happens to have powers, and she's beating up thugs, and, her biggest villain is a guy who can, mind control people. And even that's the other thing too, as on a scope of like mind control, he is small scale, because like the most powerful thing so far I've seen him do in the show is he got an entire restaurant to shut up.
Yeah, why don't you fight Brainiac? And tell me if you can fucking beat that.
Why don't you fight Hector Hammond?
Yeah,
like, shit. Even he has scope as like, telepathy was fucking way more powerful. It's just, I think it's, like we said, apples and oranges are two very different things that you can't compare.
I think this is why ultimately a lot of times Marvel is just not for me, because Marvel just continually reminds me of how shitty the world actually is. Yeah. And DC at least gives me some sort of hope that it could be better. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm a pessimistic person, but I often will go towards, DC because it's a little bit more fucking hopeful.
It is one of those, like, those are heroes that you strive to be like and stuff,
Marvel heroes are the people that reflect your own flaws, and DC is the people that you want to be, the person that you aspire to be.
Yeah, honestly, like, if you look at their most, like, iconic-ish, like, looking heroes that, like, kind of you would equate to, like, DC styles is, like, Cap, Thor, the original, like, early on Fantastic Four and stuff like that. They were bright and shiny, and that was very much, but... Now it's like, it's not the case. And like, I like both these shows.
Yeah.
I like the Jessica Jones show, and I like, the Supergirl show. And I like them for two completely different reasons. I know they're not even in the same ballpark. They're not the same sport. They're not even anything remotely the same, but I like them both for what they are. And I would never compare them. I just,
they shouldn't be compared.
Yeah, they shouldn't be, because it's like, to compare them is complete idiocracy. I think you're just comparing two generalized characters. You're not comparing anything else in the world. You're just saying, well, this character is better than this character for this reason, but I'm ignoring everything else that is related to that. And I'm like, you can't do that, guys.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. Watch both and make your own judgments.
But that being said, there was a lot of like wishy-washy about whether or not we would ever get an Iron Fist show, because we hadn't heard anything about it. We hadn't heard, there was nothing said. Well, here recently, after the Jessica Jones show finally dropped, they said, they confirmed it, and like they're like, yes, we are doing an Iron Fist show. It is happening. Things are going in motion now. The reason we didn't say much is because we didn't want to detract anything from the momentum of Jessica Jones.
Right.
Like, that's what they wanted to do. So we are going to have an Iron Fist, and we are getting Defenders. Like, Defenders is happening. Yes. This is like a major thing. It is happening. Yes, there are still rumors of possibilities of like, maybe a Punisher show, or maybe a Moon Knight show, or something. We don't know. There's always possibilities. It's Netflix. They're not beholden to the same type thing. So, then we saw the new trailer
for Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow, and I have to say this is probably one of the most exciting things that I saw.
I have to say the room was completely filled with semen by the end of it.
It literally you
just drowning in geek semen.
Just jisms.
Everything's still sticky.
Yeah, it looks so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the extended trailer where they really get deeper into why these characters, what's happening, where we're going, what we're going to see, different things like that, expanding on showcasing, who's all in the group.
Mm-hmm.
Best parts for me, Firestorm in a costume.
Yeah, it looks fucking awesome.
Both Hawkman, Hawkgirl in a costume, fighting with the weapons.
Yes.
Like, these are the things.
Vandal Savage. Seeing
multiple different versions of Vandal Savage.
I love Vandal Savage.
I mean, it looks amazing.
This is by far
the time ship.
Yes. This is by far the most ambitious show that they've done, and
Rip Hunter in general.
Literally cannot wait to see it.
Yeah. Like,
there's so much potential for this show.
I'm excited about Jessica. I'm excited about the Luke Cage, show. I'm excited about Iron Fist. But like right now, the thing that I'm excited for Civil War, but I'm more excited for right now for Legends of Tomorrow because it looks so good. It looks like it's just going to be amazing. What they've said, what they've shown, what they've been building up in the shows. We've got the crossover coming up, which is like the crossover is dedicated to building that more hype for the show. The crossover, we finally get to see Vandal Savage in action.
Yes.
We get to see Hawkman and Hawkgirl in action. Like, this is amazing stuff.
This is a DC fan's wet dream.
Yeah. And there's even been talk that supposedly we might be getting another show.
Yeah.
Like, apparently the guy who's known for casting all these shows and the Supergirl show and everything said that there's another show. During Robbie and Stephen Amell's Q&A thing they did, it kind of got dropped. Robbie knows what it is. Stephen didn't, and then Robbie kind of like whispered to him what it was, and Stephen was like, fuck, that's going to be awesome. And the TV caster guy confirmed that there's something else. Could it be Constantine? Could it be something, with like, I don't know, maybe a Gotham character, like Nightwing, something? We've heard mention of Bloodhaven.
Yes.
Could it be something with like, I would love to see a Lantern thing, but I don't know because it's not going to happen.
Awesome.
Yeah. Like, what is it? Is it going to be something completely new? Is it going to be a character that we've already seen? We don't know.
I'm literally salivating at the prospect.
I know. I'm just like, oh, God. Oh, God.
But we would be remiss if we didn't talk about our respective weekends, since it's a tradition that we have, and you and I both had weekend adventures this time.
Yep.
I'll let you talk about yours first.
Okay, I went, it was LARP weekend.
LARP weekend.
It was time to kill some zombies. But apparently it was time to kill some zombies in the fucking frigid ass cold. I went camping in... Now, the weather ranged from on a high around 40 to a low, which I would say was probably about 16 degrees.
Oh, fuck that.
There wasn't nearly as many people. I would say there was probably like 60 or 70 people and stuff, which surprising considering the weather. That's actually a pretty decent.
I just assumed it would be like you and one dude and another dude out there like
kill each other.
Huddled together for warmth at night.
Oh, God.
Me.
I
into the what the fuck, without a paddle.
My boss in the mood. No. But no, there was a good turnout of people, and the weather wasn't bad. Like on Friday at night, it got pretty brisk, and I actually slept in the tent Friday night, which, I had the heater on, and I had a shit ton of fucking blankets, and it did all right. It wasn't terrible. But then the next day, we were supposed to get a shit ton of rain and then like a chance of snow. Well, we got no rain, but then we got a fucking like snowstorm out of nowhere for a couple hours. and that was great. And then it literally just kept dropping in temperature. Like, we actually kind of like, our normal quiet hours are between like 4 and 8, so people can sleep. I'm pretty sure we like almost called the game at like 2 in the morning because people were just hibernating in the buildings because it was too cold and going to bed and shit. Like, it was just too cold. But we had a good time. I got to beat the shit out of a bunch of people. We did cool, fun things. But, you know, I had to tell my friends, I was like, you know, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it, but I'll see you guys in the spring. Yeah. Like, it's not that I don't want to play in the winter.
Out of 5,000.
You know, it's just... I have the job now, and I work weekends, and I've been pretty lucky in the fact that they've let me have you know, the weekends off, but I can't keep doing that consistently. So
I got to save up some time for the cons that we want to do.
Yeah, so I gotta, you know, kind of take a break, and you know, I'll be back out in the spring. So you know, it was a fun time for the last time I'll be out for a couple months. So it was good. What about you, sir?
I had adventures in the cold myself, but I wasn't brave enough to camp in it.
No.
But I drove up to Michigan for the second Taylortown Comic-Con. It's my third trip up into Michigan, and the snow literally fucking is a thing that hates me. It's like the fucking the death wind in Final Destination. Like, it was literally waiting for me because they said it was going to snow. And I drove all the way up there. Dirk was nice enough to give me a much better route to go. And I could kiss him, literally, because it was so much better than...
I don't think the route has anything
Shut up.
You want to kiss Dirk.
It's so pretty. It's that hair.
Don't hide behind directions.
I've heard stories about his amazing haiku. But... It was such a better route to go. It was much more logical than the idiotic route that Google Maps set me on the first 2 times I went down there. But it was a good drive, easy drive all the way down there. It was 3.5 hours, but it didn't really feel like it because it was much more freeway and everything. I hit gridlock outside of Toledo, and it was a fucking bitch for about 20 minutes or so. But other than that, it was a great trip. The second I pulled into the parking lot of the venue, it started to snow, and it was not cold enough for it to be just, you know, snow flurries. No, it was like it was raining Slurpee. Like unflavored Slurpee was raining all over me, and people were getting just drenched in wet ass snow. And we had to all, you know, unload our cars and trucks and whatever, and unload everything into the building. And I had to wait around for a cart to unload my stuff. And by the time I did, the snow was really starting to come down. And everybody's things were getting wet. You know, I had boxes of comics and other things that I didn't want to get wet, but the top layer of my stuff got a little bit wet. I got everything in there and loaded up, and, you know, everybody got in there. And unfortunately, the snow kept a lot of the crowd away, but we still did okay. I sold my first sketch cover. That was really cool. It was you guys have seen the picture that I did. The sketch cover of Blunt Man and Chronic that I did on the blank cover comic, and that one sold, and that was really cool. I didn't really expect that to happen. It's just something kind of I did on a whim. And we got to hang out with J.R. Blanton. That was always fun, and I, you know, got to see him interact with fans of Light Earth, which is always cool. And he definitely has some #1 fans because they were there at Redford the last time. They were there for this one too, and he's definitely got a couple really strong fans in there that I watched them buy a lot of stuff at the Redford show, and then I watched them buy more stuff again, and it's the same stuff, so they definitely must be fans. I think they were buying it actually for other people to give to other people, so that was really cool. And I got to be table mates on the side with the Master Plot Comics table with Stephanie and Megan, and that was really great. Stephanie is a total sweetheart, and we got to participate in a panel about podcasting. It was me and Stephanie and John from Pod Bros and Bub from Slackjaw Punks. And that was a lot of fun. The weird guy in the rainbow wig who is moderating the thing. So apparently his name is Crazy Mark, and he's a very strange man in a very strange outfit. And I'm not sure if he's ever heard a podcast or knew what a podcast was, but, you know, he did okay. But we had a really fun time. It was the first time I really got to participate in that sort of panel. I did a podcast panel on a show with Mike Watson and the Stuff podcast, and that was really cool. But this was like an actual, like a panel that you would go and watch, you know, at the con.
MC'd by crazy old man, googly hair.
MC'd by rainbow-haired weird dude, fucking
Rainbow.
I swear the
Rainbow
only,
Rudolph or whatever his fucking name was.
Yeah, the only fucking thing he was interested in that I said was when I mentioned that the show was raunchy. He got really interested for about 30 seconds, but it was cool. Like
oh, you dirty old man.
Yeah, some of the questions were really cool. Like, it was interesting, and you know, hanging out with podcasters that I haven't got a chance to hang out with very much was really cool. Jonathan Podbros is really great. All the Podbros people were really cool. The Slackjawed Punks people were really cool. They were a very professional outfit, man. They had all this beautiful recording equipment that I was salivating over at their table. These gorgeous microphones and sound mixing boards and shit. And I was like, what are you trying to do? Show me up? Fuck you, man. I got a puppet. What do you got? You ain't got no puppet. You ain't making dance videos over here. But JR...
I just snickered with him like, no, they're not.
I gotta tell you, in all honesty, most of the reason I went down there was to get to see JR because he's going through a lot right now with his dad passing away. And my entire goal of the weekend was to A, not eat McDonald's, and B, to make JR laugh and smile as much as I possibly could. And I think I pretty much succeeded. You guys have seen the very popular videos of JR and I dancing to the DJ with the fucking Magic 8-ball head.
Well, we saw pictures of what that guy looked like.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw him in person, and
I was like, that 8-ball actually is kind of an improvement.
Yeah, you don't see too many 40-year-old DJs, but
well, you do. Just
they don't wear Magic 8-balls and training.
Nope, not really.
Dance to dubstep.
Yep.
But John Colette always runs a great show, and John's a very sweet guy, and had a lot of fun with him. And Clive Carpenter, who's a horror author and the creator of STD, the card game, I got to hang out with him, and he's always a fun guy to hang out with. It was a lot of just having fun with people that are fun to be around. I mean, that's kind of what we do for cons anyway. It's like half the reason
do for life.
Yeah, half the reason we go to these cons is to A, get the show out there, and B, just hang out with people that we enjoy being around, you know. I bought a couple, got the chance to get some of the Fallout Funko Pop mystery figures, which I didn't even know existed until this show.
Well, my other goal is always try to like steer you into like Daryl Banks.
Yeah.
Or like pay little like candy corn cosplayer chicks to like constantly walk by you a lot. You're like, what the fuck is that?
I stayed away from most of the cosplay this time, but there was a couple decent ones there. But by the time the cosplay, actually John was very smart about this. John had the cosplay contest go on right at the end of the show. So it was during the time really that everybody else was packing up, like the vendors were packing, so it didn't really interfere at all in the sales or anything like that.
Smart.
Which John's very smart about that, yeah. And so it was a lot of fun. I was gonna go and hang out with Dirk because he had a show that was not too far from where I was, but by the time it actually stopped snowing the entire time that the show was going on. Then right as the show was ending, boy, it vomited snow.
Like, shit, he's coming out, quick!
Like, here comes Todd, shit, hurry up and like dump out a big fucking fuckload of slush. It was like no snow on the ground to like 3.5, 4 inches of Slurpee on the fucking ground, and I had like canvas low top tennis shoes on and long jeans, and like instantly my socks were frozen to my feet and my shoes were completely soaked to the bottom of my jeans.
You need to leave some boots in your car.
I loaded.
This is something you'll learn if you ever go to Michigan.
Yeah,
just leave boots in your car.
I loaded up everything, and my plan was to go to the motel, check in, drop off my stuff, and then drive down to where Dirk was because he was doing a signing at a library, the Bacon Library, which is awesome. Greatest name for.
Yes.
Like, I feel like they should just hand you bacon when you go through the door. But
here's your book, here's your bacon.
I know Stephanie and Megan, they went straight from the show into there, but I had to go and check into my motel, and I thought, well, I'm going to go to the motel. I'll grab something to eat on the way that's not McDonald's, and I will drop my shit off and then take off. Well, what should have been a 15-minute drive to the motel actually ended up being about 45 minutes to an hour because of the belligerent snow. And it wasn't because the drivers were bad or anything, because I'm going to tell you something Michigan has over Ohio. These motherfuckers actually know how to drive in snow.
People here drive it more often than most.
People here, it's like one drop of precipitation, then they're like that fucking ant in Bug's Life when the leaf falls in front of them. Oh, no! People in Michigan, they don't give a fuck. They just drive right through it, and I love that because that's me too.
Yeah.
But it still took 45 minutes, and I found a Del Taco, which that was one of my goals because we don't have those here.
Yes.
And I got some Del Taco, and it was excellent.
Del Tacos.
It was excellent. The crinkle fries they have there are fantastic, and you don't think fries and burritos necessarily go together?
No,
it totally
yes,
does.
They do. Yes, they do. Especially crinkle fries. Needs to be crinkle fries and burritos.
But I got to the motel and I got my burritos and I unpacked my stuff and I was just like, I just don't have it in me to go back and fight the snow, you know. And it was getting worse.
Yeah,
like the snow was just, it wasn't
you
letting up.
You might have made it there.
Yeah,
you probably weren't coming back.
Yeah, and so like I was really kind of disappointed that I didn't, you know, do that. And it was a tough decision not to. But my socks and my shoes were soaked through, and I couldn't want to.
Yeah.
So next time I come down in the spring, because I think the next there's a show in January that I just know I'm not going to do, but April there's a show, and I will definitely come back down for the April show, and then hopefully I can.
And I'll make sure he packs his boots.
Yeah, I can hopefully hook up with a lot more folks then. But it was a fun experience, and we had a good time. There was a lot of kids that came over to play the game, and a couple adults that came over and took cards and things like that, and to talk to a few people, and getting to table next to like on both sides people that I actually enjoy talking to is really good. Stephanie was very sweet, and Megan, I hadn't actually met Megan before, but she was very sweet too, and we had a good time. Spent a lot of time out front smoking and avoiding people. And JR, I did make him laugh quite a bit.
The best thing about going to a con group exclusion. Like,
that was very sad, though, that JR actually had to leave early because we had planned to actually hang out together, and we were going to go to the Dirk thing and then come back and go to this little pro wrestling show that was going to be there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, his mom got sick, and he had to cut the evening short. So that kind of put a damper on the plans, too. And he was very upset about it. But, you know, he doesn't have to feel bad because responsibilities are responsibilities. And
he still had his boogie shoes.
Yes. He still had his boogie shoes, and he got down and boogied. And I actually got out there and
get down,
did
boogie.
What I would call my version of dancing, which is the fat guy shuffle that I generally do when music is playing.
I mean, in some world, in some way, both of what you guys could do is misconstrued as dancing, but I mean, I don't know.
We had a good time, and the drive back was fine. In the morning, you know, there was snow on the ground, but it wasn't snowing anymore. And once I got out of like the first part of Michigan, it was gone. Yeah. You know, so the rest of the drive was fine.
Describe what JR did, or as a a form of seduction and convulsion.
He was doing a little.
But he
strippy.
Was getting it down. He was getting with it.
He's getting a little strippy.
He was getting a little strippy. I was like, JR, what are you doing, man? You're taking your jacket off. What are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, no.
But I had a really good time, and I will be happy to go back when the time comes. Anytime John runs a show that I can make it to, I'll definitely go.
Oh, nice.
Well, we've got one more show. Well, I've got one more show. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday, December the 5th, Stebbins Con, the winter version.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there. Sean Forney's going to be there. Rodney Fike is going to be there. World Paranormal Investigations is going to be there. There's going to be some MMA fighters, and a former pro wrestler and stuntman is going to be there. And the guest of honor is, again, Ben Peter from Season 8 of Sci-Fi Channel's Face Off, which I'm a huge fan of. And I got to talk to him quite a bit at the summer show, and he's a really, really nice guy. I'm going to try to get some audio recorded with him if I possibly can.
Do it.
Yes, very cool guy and a very, very talented, extremely talented guy.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that. And Stebbins is done for a good cause, and never a high volume show, but always fun for some reason or another. So I'll be happy to do it, and hopefully the Basement Babe will be there with me. She is tentatively scheduled to do so, and if not, hopefully I can get some other people to come out and visit. But you'll be at work, I'm sure. It's on Saturday, so yeah.
Yes.
But it's unfortunate, but yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, that is the last con of the season, and the last show of the season, and this has been a very con-heavy season for us.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of live shows. I've done a lot of live shows and traveled further alone than I've ever traveled in my life, actually.
Ah!
And probably done shows in, 3 states this year? Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's been a hell of a year. And the 100th episode we recorded last week was a blast, absolute blast.
Oh, we also, I think we can count Kentucky.
We were
there. We did a show there, but we didn't.
Yeah.
We weren't invited to come down and do a show.
Right.
But I still count it. So 4. We did.
So yeah, I mean we've recorded from 4 states. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's not bad.
Nope.
And the 100th show was a blast. Dirk was really cool enough to come down here and do the show with us. And boy, you guys wish that you heard the conversation we had off the air, because that was a hell of a lot of fun.
That was fun time.
But he is a great man, and we wouldn't have a show nearly to the level that we do without the help that we've gotten from him and the independent comic community in general, all the friends that we have and everything. So it's been a fun year, a fun 2015.
Now we get to stuff our faces with fattening food, and then I unfortunately have to listen to all this bullshit Christmas music for a month.
Music.
I hates it, I tell you.
And tomorrow is Thanksgiving as we're recording this, so we're all going to be thankful for the short amount of time that I have to spend with my family.
Thankful that the bathroom is on the same floor as me.
Yes. But I hope that everybody out there in listener land has a good Thanksgiving, and we'll be back next week with more fun and shenanigans and happy, friendly, fun times. And we're looking forward again this year to our annual Drunken Christmas show, which will be happening in about a month, and we'll be having quite a fun time, I'm sure.
Oh, God, is
Last year is going to be hard to beat. I think we should definitely do what we did last year and do the audio and the video, because the video was a lot of fun. Do the half-sober video and then the half-drunk video.
Oh, God, yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
All right, so we'll do half a show sober, half a video sober, then, like, later on that night... Yes. Maybe we should do that for the video. We'll be like, and then later on that night. Oh my God, look at them. They're fucking drunk.
That was a lot of fun last time, and we'll see if we can top our drunkenness levels for next time.
I don't know if I want to. I'm okay with where we were at. I don't want to try and top that and then be like, what happened? Well, he got alcohol poisoning.
You can also check me out this week on the Geek Dig Podcast's annual Jedi Council show. I was filling in for another normal person there.
Jedi Council.
Geek Dig. Yeah, I'm the worst choice for that, by the way. Am I not? GeekDigPod.com, and keep your eye on that website because you may be hearing some more out of me and Geek Dig in the future. But
this imaginary Jedi crap.
Sith for life.
Jedi biatches.
Oh, and be sure to check out our new website that I've been working on this week. It's thebasementofdoom.wordpress.com, where I've got a couple blog postings and links to this week's 100th episode, last week's 100th episode, and this week's brand new episode of the Todd Files with Kenneth Sinners and Paul Gorey talking about the upcoming Astropod comic.
Yeah.
So that's going to wrap it up for this week from the Basement of Doom. Until next time, I'm Todd.
I'm Dave.
And until next time, the basement door is closed.
Later.
Strip 5, get off of the stairs! You've been listening to a Basement of Doom production. To find out more about Basement of Doom Productions and all of its family of shows, please check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/basementfodder and on Twitter @basementfodder.